Israel. He came back last night. And everything is about the hostages. You heard this week there was one of the hostages that they had released, that he was one of the people that got stabbed again. So when you think about these things, we sit here and think that how terrible is their life. But I have news for you. Sometimes when you come near death, when you go through suffering, you get a second chance at life. And you turn your life, every moment of your life, into the best that it can be. And this is the story of Larry. Our father came here in 1950 to receive a telegram from my mom that she's pregnant. He came here to build his empire. He had a 2-year trip. And it was not, Larry didn't meet his dad till he was 2 years old. Larry lost a baby brother at the age of 5. He lost his 9-year-old sister at the age of 6. By 7, he came to America, and the kids tried to teach him a lesson by leaving him in the streets to find his way. The suffering happened again and again, but it turned him strong. We went back to Iran when he was 12, and within 3 years, he almost finished all of high school education in 3 languages, English, Farsi, and Hebrew. And then by the time he was 15, he came back to America, and he worked for himself. He worked after school, he worked weekends, he worked Chagim, he worked summers, and by the time we came back to America a few years later, and business wasn't so good, he gave the seed money to my father to start, his Levian. He was so strong from those painful things that happened to him, that instead it turned him into an iron man. It turned him into a strong person. Our business took us to New Mexico, Albuquerque, the jewelry business, and him and Alan and Sam all moved there, and then I moved there. And our paths crossed with Palestinian family who befriended us. And little did we know that these were thieves who were robbing other jewelers and sending the money back to the PLO. And while they were proclaiming to be our friends, not only did all of us get robbed, but they robbed Larry for over $1 million in diamonds. And when he found out, they put up a Jewish man to come and con him. And when he found out that it was that family, they put a bomb under his car. And so he came back to New York, and he came towards Hashem. And not only did he come towards Hashem, but he brought everybody else. He was one of the first Mashadis that came towards Hashem to study Torah, and Rabbi Chaim guided him with tzedakah, with Shabbat, with Torah. And he became a role model. He started to be selfless and to help other people. He was on the original NSC. He was on the first central board, I believe, as transitional central board. He was first 2 terms of the synagogue board of this synagogue. And he published the shvus for decades that everybody loved. He wanted people to spend their Shabbats with family, so he wrote engaging stories that people like to stay home and read and enjoy, and make it fun for them to be home at Shabbat. He sometimes tried to get his messages across by writing poems, by writing stories, but he had this inner strength that every time he would get hit, he became stronger. When you talk to his children, he was the most amazing father. They cannot stop telling you the stories of what a great father he was. When our cousin William got sick and he needed a kidney and the doctors couldn't help him, Larry made it his mission to find them a kidney. And they told him it's impossible. Doctors can't find it, the foundations can't find it. What do you think he can do? But he didn't give up. Not only did he find a donor, but after he successfully was able to help William get a kidney transplant, he convinced the donor now to become his ambassador to help find other people to donate their kidney for saving other lives. There are many stories about the things he did and people he helped, but people who were different situations, whether it was somebody, a rabbi that mentored him who had a sick child, and the rabbi died, and he, for 30 years, brought up this child with money, with love, with time, with care, with everything, as if it's his own. He had a friend who was addicted to drugs. He spent so much time talking to them and helping them and trying to save that person. He ended up with the kidneys. He ended up saving multiple people. He started the UMJCA emergency fund, and not only did he save people with the kidneys, but he also helped the first person that got the IVF that resulted in a machete baby being born, was helped with the money and the help of Larry. So he had developed a strong emunah, something that he believed that whatever happens is the will of Hashem, and we accept it. And so when our late father passed away 25 years ago, and within a few weeks after, he developed Parkinson's disease in a very advanced way. He was strong in the way he handled it. While everybody else is crying and saying, what are we going to do now? He said, this is what I have. I'll live with it. He had an emunah that was unbreakable. And he didn't lose any opportunity to give to the community, to give to the family, to show his life for his beautiful love of his life, Angela. He would never forget a birthday, an anniversary, a Hanukkah. In our company, whenever there was a beautiful piece of jewelry missing, and we would search for it, we found that it was in Larry's line. his disease advanced, he didn't let it take him down. He did his tefillot every day until the end. Even when he was on life support, he would put on his tefillin. He would do his tefillot. It was so difficult. People couldn't imagine what is going on here. He's on a vent and he's doing his tefillin and tefillot. And the end, 2-3 months ago, Angela, the kids, they were saying, we're so sorry for what you're going through. He says, no, I have a beautiful life. I have a beautiful life. He was thankful till the end. Then he contacted Musa and I that he wants to meet. And he was somehow magically, after a year in rehab and so forth on the bed, he was able to come home for 6-7 months. He contacted us, I want to talk to you. And he said, he couldn't talk, he barely could write, but he was able to tell us that he saw this house before he was on life support, and that he wanted to buy it for Angela. And he even was able to accomplish that in his situation. His life was like a miracle. Magically, before he had gotten so bad, he had started writing the Sefer Torah, but then when it was being written, he was on life support. We didn't know how it was going to end. But he was able to come home, he was able to come to the synagogue, he was able to attend the dedication as if everything is just fine. He never gave up. And I have to say, he was also fortunate to have such an amazing family. Never in my life have I seen anybody do what Angela did for Larry. Never have I seen somebody so strong to be able to go through such difficult time, to be there for every doctor's appointment with the file, with the history, all prepared, be able to go through all his hospitalizations, everything that he went through, and stand tall. And their love affair was a love affair. There are folders of love letters that they wrote to each other, of poems that he wrote for her, of so much happiness and beauty that when we look back, he shined. The fact that he became a hostage of these horrible things is what caused him to be the amazing person that he is. So, last year, Pamela Ziv called and said the plot came up in Israel. They said, do you want to buy it? You have to decide in a couple of days. He bought it. So we went to Israel to bury him. Little did we know what had happened. We end up, we thought, everybody thinks, should I have a plot in Israel? Do I want all my family to drive over there and back? And is this the way? You have no idea what happened. When we go there to the plot, this is in Har HaZeitim, in a prime location. Somehow, magically, last year they had expanded a small strip and a handful of plots had opened up that he was able to get his hand on. They don't allow the family, the wife, the children to come inside the cemetery, so they were all upset that now they're going to bury them and he won't be able to even see it. As it turns out, his plot is right on the top by the road, so they could all stand on the other side of the wall and see the whole burial. And it has the view of the whole old city and the Golden Globe, and the whole thing is in front of you, and you're surrounded by the kebers of all the Sagetim. It was so surreal to see that somebody that turned his life into helping others, into doing good for the community, is now buried in a prime place next to all the Sagetim. And this is the story